It's a Thursday morning in early summer.
I've never found anywhere quite as beautiful as this. Having dolphins, whales, turtles.
Dolphins and whales are Frank Future's life's work.
Just over ahead of us, 11 o'clock.
And a huge drawcard for tourists to his home in Port Stephens.
We kicked off whale watching in '95, and that filled the gap in the winter because this place died in the winter.
But there's a new industry moving to town.
I'm very concerned about anything that affects our natural environment, and that's got me involved in this turbine issue.
The Hunter Region, just north of Sydney, is set to become one of Australia's first offshore wind zones. Hundreds of floating turbines would be installed from Norah Head in the south to Port Stephens in the north. The closest would be about 20 kilometres from shore. This area alone could generate 5.2 gigawatts of power, almost double the closest coal-fired power station near Newcastle. And it's one of a number of projects around the country, with advanced proposals in Gippsland, the Illawarra and Southern Ocean, and others being looked at off southern and central Queensland and WA's southwest.
Australia should be one of the leading countries in offshore wind around the world. We have 34,000 kilometres of coastline. Most of our population lives along the coastlines.
And the Hunter is already a picture of contrast. Pristine beaches bring in tourists from across the country, while Newcastle hosts the busiest coal port on the globe.
People in Newcastle are used to industry. You come just sort of an hour up the road, and up here our main industry is tourism, and it's eco-based tourism, marine tourism.
Vocal community opposition has taken the industry and the federal government by surprise. Concerns vary from visual impacts to what the turbines might mean for whales migrating down the coast.
If we don't take a more custodial attitude towards our natural environment, it doesn't speak for itself. We've got to stand up for it.
The industry's backers are frustrated with what they label as misinformation about the threat to whales and how it's managed to rapidly spread.
We're going through the normal process of having a number of things put on the table, a lot of the reality coming out.
During the consultation period, we were let down by our own department in some ways, and I feel that quite strongly.
It's easy to understand why some are sceptical about wind turbines offshore. Many are attached to the coastline and protective of it. But Australia is falling behind in meeting its renewable energy targets, and there's a real urgency in getting more power into the grid. With thousands of kilometres of coastline, the potential and possibility of offshore wind is hard to ignore.
There's a lot of people that are concerned, but we've got to keep the lights on too. And I don't think it matters where this project goes, there's going to be some opposition.
Others are wondering what a whole new industry might mean for jobs, and local manufacturing in particular.
We want to be part of it. Trouble is, it's such a big project. There's going to be so much metal used in this project that finding contractors and suppliers and companies that can undertake such projects are going to be difficult.
If and when coal starts to fade from this region, a massive new project and the work that comes with it could be timely.
We know that they are really well-paid jobs, akin to potentially offshore oil and those sorts of jobs.
It will be a long-term employer of not only modern jobs, but jobs where we've got existing skill sets, whether it be in coal mining, power generation or the like, that can transition into these roles.
Change coming on the wind. Tom Lowry, ABC News, Port Stephens.